Testing. Hello everyone, my name's Ethonra, and welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker. There, I got it right again. That should do it. Alright, let me just plug up my controller to make sure it doesn't die on me mid-game. Because even though it gives you that warning notification, I still miss it. Not all the time, but I try to make it not pop up at all, so I try to stay on top of the battery life. But yeah, I kept that there so you all will have a chance to read the journal. I'm going to talk to Tataru again. And let's go see what this is all about. Also, I haven't been paying attention to the levels because level 90 now. Let me hold that thought. You know what? I'll just save it for after. I'll try not to break up the cutscenes as much as I've been doing. Okay, let me think. What was it? Oh. So like I said, level 90. So I haven't been paying attention to the levels of these missions because it almost doesn't matter now. But, and I try to avoid spoilers as much as I can. So do keep in mind, there's a reason this is called Part 7 and not Part 1. So, with that in mind, Zodiark was level 83. That I vividly remember. When we had to fight those Loporits to escape, were they 84? Were they actually a higher level than Zodiark? The frickin' moon bunnies? Were they? Because like I said, I wasn't paying attention. If they were... Oh boy, if they were. Let's see, another thing is, it's a few yeah, I guess it is a few hours. You know, 2 is a few. It's a few hours away from reset, so, and I told a friend of mine that we'll do we'll do the roulette together. So, after 2 hours, I will end the stream and go do the roulette. But after I get back from the roulette, I'm going to try to stream for as long as possible, because tomorrow I have to go house sitting again, and I won't be back for a good 3 or 4 days, which is within my limit, so I'll be okay. But still, I would rather play as much as possible, especially since I'm already so far behind. Let's see. I guess it really doesn't matter. I'll save Kryle for last. Start here. Speaking of Kryle and Tataru, I'm glad that Tataru got to come along, that she's not alone by herself back at headquarters. I still want to have that rematch with Hori. What's the other guy's name? Oh, no, she didn't even bother mentioning him. But yeah, and I don't mean a rematch in like Zio lost. She didn't. Or rather, he didn't. It was a different Zio. But my point is, Zio won. And Hori himself said that he wanted to have a rematch someday, if I'm not mistaken, but I guess we'll never get there. Oh, that reminds me of something else I want to talk about. I'll bring it up after this. Yeah, that really sucks. On second thought, I'll save Raha for last, since he was the one that I had Zio talk to last night. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is last night, where I brought up how that's something they've done before, I think twice as a matter of fact, where depending on, actually maybe not twice, but depending on who you think is at the door, that's who's actually going to be there. And I chose Raha, and I'm glad I did. But like I said, off screen, I went ahead and watched the other ones. And at first, because I knew how much of a quote-unquote hassle it would be, in the sense that I cannot cut the footage the way I want, so it would be longer than I would have liked for it to be, I decided not to do it.
And lo, vile beasts did rise. Leaving naught in their wake but blood and ash. Sun scorches earth and boils seas. And our sins ascend unto the heavens. Three dooms to unmake all we were.
The sky burns. The final days are truly upon us.
Yeah, at level 85. Who'd have thought?
My friends, I trust you have heard the news.
I'm sorry, I'll let them talk after this. It's just, like I said, if you need any more proof, there you go, man. It's just, everything has been going so fast. Like, it's so funny, too, because at the very beginning, I said this would be a slow burn, because I was going to talk to everyone and, you know, stuff like that. But, geez, man, when the story wanted to accelerate, it did not slow down. I mean, it did with the, like, peaceful moments and stuff, but I mean slow down in the terms of scale. This is something I'd expect to, again, 88, maybe 87, not 85. And keep in mind, unless this is the final thing Final Fantasy XIV is ever going to do, there's going to be more story. So, especially more patches. So why are you getting this out so fast? Shadowbringers took how many patches to complete? And Endwalker looked like it's about to be finished in a few levels?
We have. What can you tell us of the situation, Your Excellency?
Last night, the isle was rocked by tremors, and the earth itself cried out. Aloft, the heavens began to burn. From all about, unholy beasts, the likes of which we had never seen, came forth in fury and rage. No. To say they came forth would be inexact. The people of Radzatan themselves transformed into these baleful fiends.
Oh, that would explain the ghostly aura.
Though the phenomenon was observed throughout our lands, the first creature, the largest and most dreadful of the lot, wrought havoc upon us here in our fair city. Though they bear superficial resemblance to divinities of legend, they are ungodly abominations. The people decry them as blasphemies. The Large One's rampage has since taken it to the northern reaches of the island. I mean to dispatch our radiant host in an attempt to quell the threat.
And what of Vritra?
Vitra too makes for the north of his own accord, and yet he knows the blasphemy and its minions were but yesterday his beloved people. I pray his boundless compassion and mercy does not deter him from taking unenviable but necessary action.
Understood. I ask that you allow us to aid you in quelling this threat.
You would risk your lives to help us yet again? I have no words to express my gratitude. Our regiments approach the north from several directions, with a number of units set to depart from the docks of Yedlimat. They will make landfall in an area of dense jungle, where one can expect to encounter dangers even beyond the fell beasts we hunt. I leave you to your preparation. You will find me at the docks when you are ready to depart.
We're as prepared as we'll ever be. Let's go.
For Mercy, I actually do remember what I was talking about. I think. I don't know if I was saying something different earlier. I'll let you read this. But the thing I was saying earlier about who being behind the door, I decided not to do it because of the reason I said before. But then midway through, since I was watching them back to back to back anyway, I was like, well, maybe I should. And then when I decided to do it, I decided not to again because I ended up messing it up. So that's probably my final say on the matter. But that being said, what I'm torn about is should I share some of the information or not, because they're all great. All of the cutscenes were great, every single one. I will say that the most unique ones were sorry, that just distracted me, because now I'm like, man, if I knew the end would be here this soon, I would have done some of the side quests earlier, even though I don't really need to. I would have done them anyway, but I didn't think the story would be going this fast. But I digress. Rahas and Estinians were probably the most unique because, slight spoiler for this, all of the characters, save for Raha, it would show like a zoom in of essentially their chin, their lips, so you can tell who it was. Raha's didn't. It kind of just showed him nervously, shyly, embarrassingly wringing his hands together, you know, that thing that he does. While Estinians, I'm not going to tell you why his was unique. That one you definitely got to see for yourself, but Estinians was also unique. But all of them made really good points, really compelling things. I think Thancred's was good, but his might have actually been the weakest. But yeah, I'm debating on if I should share some of their personal stories with you or not. But if you have the game and you have not seen all of them, then yes, you, for sure, I would recommend going back and watching all of those cutscenes again. I believe the chapter is called Returning Home, or something along those lines, and it's going to be the second cutscene out of 4. That's kind of what I remember, so definitely give them a look. You won't regret it. Oh, and one other smaller detail. Obviously, because we know Raha, his theme was playing in the background, it does that for all of them. All of them have their own theme song playing in the back, and my favorites were Raha's, Y'shtola's, and Alice's. Yeah, that's true. Thanks to Ystola's unique eyesight. Well, actually, I say that, but technically the Scions could be able to do that too if they had those goggles. So I'm not entirely sure why they stopped wearing them. Because just because Ystola can do it now doesn't mean the goggles themselves are completely useless. They are to her, but the other Scions could definitely use them. Yeah, that's a good point. We're not sure if this is a form of tempering or not. Thancred, on that note, Thancred for sure could use those goggles because he can't even use etheric abilities anymore. So for him to have the goggles will be a smart move in my opinion. Unless there's some lore-based reason why they stopped using them. Again, I don't remember, but if there's no actual reason besides new clothing, that's not a good enough reason. That is true. If this is going to be a dungeon, I imagine what he just said is actually going to happen. Like, how could it not? But that's a good point, because I was thinking with Amarat, it straight up mentioned that because of their creative magics, it gave their despair and fear physical forms. So then that begs the question, how did that more or less same abominations make it here? Well, they used to be people. That's how. And yeah, that's definitely worse. Yeah, exactly. You are 100% right, but let me just check this out, because I knew they would do this. See, and talking to her is so tempting, because that means everyone else should have different dialogue as well. And even though I said I would talk to everyone, that's a little ridiculous. Case in point, if I had done, I'm assuming, yeah, if I had done her side quest earlier, if I could, I'm not sure if it just popped up or what. Yeah, the fact that it gives me level 80 kind of gives me an idea. But yeah, if I'd done her side quest earlier, then when I would talk to her later, her dialogue would be different. And right now, for sure, it would be different. So, missed opportunity. I didn't think that far ahead. If I did, I probably would have actually done the side quests on stream. Even if I didn't need most of them, I would have done them as a tank or something. But regardless, too late now. Oh, there's that song again. I'm getting really good at timing this music, aren't I? Almost wasn't fast enough there. But yeah, as expected, a dungeon, because they do them every, like, level, what, 80, 81, 83, 85, so there should be another one around, what, 87, 88, and there'll definitely be, of course, 89 and 90. Alright, let's see if they say anything different. Okay, now they're saying the exact same thing. Alright, that's good. Oh, I just said it was good, I accidentally pressed that button again. I was going a bit too fast. Okay, let's see. Well, since Raha was with me just the other night, I will bring him, but at the same time, I don't want to replace Alice, so, whoops. I don't want to replace Alice, so, guess we'll see Alphino later.
I stand ever ready.
good. So I guess we'll see Alphino later. And I would have had Raha be the DPS and then Urion J be the healer. So, but unfortunately we can't do that, so this will have to do. Makes me wonder how the music in here is going to be. Hearing this. Oh, it is this music. Okay, that's pretty clever. Yeah, you know it's the end times when they make a boss a common mob. I'm definitely getting some, the first dungeon of Shadowbringer vibes from this, you know, minus the fire. But I do think that's kind of interesting. You got the first dungeon feel, and, not technically the last, but one of the last dungeons of Shadowbringers. Oh, I'm about to say, that's, I can't pronounce his name. Oh, and there they are. They're monsters now. And that just begs the question, like, for real, what is causing the final days? Why is it so, no pun intended, hell-bent on ending the world to the point where it's like, oh, well, we can't be birthed into existence with their creative magics, so instead, we'll just turn the people into monsters. Like, it is going out of its way to find a way to make this happen, and it makes me wonder why. It doesn't feel natural.
My friends, heed me. These are children of Ethonra. Forgive me. I could do them no harm.
So, that's unfortunate. It's kind of sad. I mean, I understand his point of view, but I see it more as putting them out of their misery. As far as I can tell, they probably have no semblance of any kind of past life. We don't even know if they're still themselves on the inside and are just passengers in their own bodies, but either way, I do see this more as a mercy killing. So, I'm totally fine with it, but I understand why it would bother him.
You now.
But even if these were my people, again, I would still see it as a mercy killing. I wouldn't want them to live on like this twisted form. Shades of their past selves. To me, that is a crueler fate than putting them down. I would say though, I do like how he is defending them. Like, that's the obvious thing that was going on here. I was almost surprised he didn't have an HP bar, but obviously if they did that, that could have some implications.
If this is the only way...
Yeah.
I shall silence the beasts of the air. Pray continue onward.
I think it's Ethonra. I think that's his name. Thank you. I will focus target this thing because I do feel it's the more dangerous. Most dangerous, rather, of the three. Also, I just noticed my icon there changed. I've been noticing that a little bit, but I never saw a correlation. I thought it was because of a certain move I used, not the position I was in. So that's going to warrant some looking into. I need to move from that too, because every time I see that, I thought I was seeing that, the orange AoE.
My turn!
Excellent. I finally have these skills ready now.
You underestimate me.
I love that too, because it allows Zio to stay in the fusion form for a little bit longer. That's what I'm going to address it as too. Because Enshrouded, well, that's exactly what it is. I'm going to call it the fusion form. And yeah, as I predicted, that thing's more dangerous. How could it not be? I'm just taking in the scenery. That, and I didn't want that to happen. So, something else Sinkweaver pointed out is how you do, in fact, as a tank at least, and obviously that applies to all the other classes, you are taking more damage. And he definitely knows more about tanking than I do. I just know, like, the bare minimum. Essentially, do your job, do your combos, get aggro ASAP, use provoke to get aggro back, you know, things like that. But yeah, according to him, well, let me say this as well. He also said that he is going to basically look into it, not to put words in his mouth, but essentially he's not too sure himself, so he's going to wait until someone who has better insight than him confirms it. But as far as he can tell, tanks take more damage, because he was using Blackest Night a lot more. But on the flip side, I don't know if he got around to saying this, but to me it feels like you do more damage. That could just be the Reaper, you know, but I feel like you also do more damage. Okay, see, I changed positions, but Unveiled Gibbet didn't change. So I don't know. I don't quite understand the skills too well just yet. Like I said, I only know the bare minimum, and even then I mess it up a little bit. Now, I wonder who that is. I know it's a soldier of some kind, but... oh, that's depressing. Yeah, see? That's kind of a disturbing name. Note of Despair is pretty bad, too. But I was talking about Terminus Snatcher, and I don't mean that in a dirty kind of way. Stop that. I meant it's kind of disturbing in the sense that it's referred to as a snatcher, so that leads you to believe kidnapper. Ooh, I almost ran into that. Ah, okay. I was about to say, ironically, the one I was near would have been kind of safe. Yeah, see? That's exactly what I was talking about. Kidnapper, last grip. I would say you might want to move. Oh man, she's lucky. Or maybe not lucky. The computer would obviously know how close it can actually be. Ah, I used the wrong move in the wrong spot. Oh, and see, that's a good point. The fact that they're talking about such pain. So does that not hint at that they're still alive somewhere in there, but they just can't control themselves? Oh, that's not good. I'm actually pretty good at that as long as I, you know, can see. Again, those are mechanics I've seen before, so I kind of know how to deal with it.
Allow me.
glad she did that.
You're mine.
Ah, I say I didn't see the second one. So I figured I'd have to dodge it afterwards. Speaking of which, wonder, I don't think I do. I think that's an 87 ability. Nope. No, it's not. Awesome. Or is it? Okay, cool. That's what I thought. I couldn't quite tell if it was green or white. They look really similar up there.
I have you now.
I'm just gonna go ahead and use this, just so I don't lose the counter. But yeah, I'm glad Alice did use the limit break there, so that way we can start building it up again. I'm gonna have to try to remember that. But you see what I mean? How fast we got the limit break? I don't know if it's just because I'm with the AI partners or not, but I did end up getting the first dungeon of the game again with some people, but I don't recall how fast we actually got the limit break. What is right? Oh, that's clever. Because I can understand what is left, you know, you get it, the whole transformation thing. But then what is right is also kind of clever in its own way. I know they must be left and right side, that was obvious. I'm talking about the name itself. Oh,
What is this vile presence I sense? The horde draweth near. Be on your guard.
No. See what I meant about the first dungeon of Shadowbringers? Don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played it yet, but that's what I'm talking about. Again, I try to keep the spoilers to a minimum, and I'm pretty sure me trying to avoid spoilers can be annoying, but I really don't want to ruin the story for people. If, for whatever reason, you're watching Part 7 first, and more specifically, you haven't played Shadowbringers, Stormblood, Heaven's Word, A Realm Reborn yet, you definitely shouldn't be watching this. Unless you don't plan to and you don't care, then sure, whatever. But don't get mad at me or Final Fantasy because it's story if you don't care enough to actually study the story. Or appreciate it, I should say. Should have actually just killed him with the AoE. That would have been smarter. Speaking of AoEs, I also like how long the timer for Enshroud is. Very handy. That's a great DPS skill. I really do love it. Makes me wonder how the other DPS classes are faring. Like Dragoon. I've seen a couple of Dragoons. I've seen a lot of Summoners. Obviously, you know, Reapers, but that goes without saying. Sages, same thing. But I've seen a lot of Dragoons and Summoners and Dancers, so makes me curious how those classes are faring in terms of DPS. Or, not in terms of DPS as in damage, because again, I don't care. I want Reaper to do the less, or the least as a matter of fact, or at least less than, say, Dragoon and Samurai and stuff. Black Mage, of course, Black Mage I bet is amazing. But yeah, I meant DPS in a sense of the skills that they have, how flashy they are, not actual terms of damage. Oh, this is going to be really sad, isn't it? Weeper and Horror. Yeah, I could tell that was going to be something really sad. But that brings up an interesting point, though. It doesn't seem like a possession, for lack of better terms, possessive transfiguration. Yeah, I like that term. We'll call it that. Possessive transfiguration. Doesn't seem to be just random. It seems like so far, anytime the final days are going on, like when this is the atmosphere, and you give in to despair, then you become a potential candidate for the possessive transfiguration. or PT. And I promise you that was not done on purpose. That was a pure coincidence, but I like it. So we'll shorten it to PT. I'll stop attacking her so I don't waste more skills.
There. My turn.
Another reason why I usually press the wrong button is because I'm so used to pressing Soul Scythe and Gibbet, I guess. No, that's not correct. It's more like I'm used to pressing Soul Scythe more than I'm pressing Soul Slice. So that can kind of mess me up, because in my head, then I think I need to press a different button to combo off of it. But that's not how it works. Like I said, I specifically put those buttons there for specific reasons, like I did with the Gunbreaker. And yet and still, I can mess up, as you saw in that one stream, the worst one I've ever had. I'm pretty sure I might have been missing some chests, because I think this is the first one we've come across, and that does not feel right. Oh, real quick, let me, 536. Okay, so around this time I can start putting on better stuff.
You're mine. There. Allow me.
I have you now.
There.
Oh man, that reminds me, I can't believe I haven't talked about that yet.
There.
As I've been said, I love asymmetry. I mean, obviously Zio herself right now is not asymmetrical, which is totally fine. But I do love that her fusion form is asymmetrical. I don't know why I never bothered to comment on that. And I even remembered it a few streams ago, but obviously forgot. But thankfully this time I did remember. So, yeah. Like I said, Reaper is definitely my favorite DPS. Might be my new favorite class, period. It depends. I still love tanking, I still love protecting people, but Reaper, so much that I love about it.
You're mine.
Oh, perfect timing. And the Reaper is also an excellent point of how it doesn't need to be flooded with skills. As you can see, I technically have 3, because the compass obviously is not going to be there forever. I technically have 3 spaces for more skills for if we ever go to level 99 or level 100. I would like to think level 90 would be final, even if we get further expansion and stuff, and we just get more trait-oriented power-ups. I'm totally cool with that. And the reason being, no matter how many moves we get, even if they give us 1,000,000 moves, sooner or later, you will get bored of them because you've seen them all already. Now, not to an extent of, oh, this is so unbearable. Like, I still love the continuation combo from Gunbreaker. I'm just saying I never got bored in the sense of, I want more stuff. I want more combos, that kind of thing. I would rather, especially for the sake of the hotbar, have more traits as opposed to more combos. Like, say, for example, they could be really basic, too. They don't need to be anything world-breaking. They could be, etc. Okay, here's a good example. Arcane Circle already technically has an upgrade, but let's say it gets another one that further increases the radius and the damage buff that it gives. Very simple trait, but a very appreciative one, and it doesn't take up space. That's what I would like. Now, this is a new one, so technically the last one was new, I guess.
On guard.
Yeah, you tell him, Thancred. What did I say? Meaningless destruction? Yeah. Interesting. Unholy water. And Aether Siphon. Total wreck. Speaking of being total wrecks. Oh, I would not have... I wasn't close enough, apparently. I was going to say, though, I would not have guessed to have done that. I mean, I guess I could have if I really had more time to think about it, because that wasn't a get far away crap. That wasn't a get far away AoE. That was a this is unavoidable, so you need to do something about it AoE. I don't know how I didn't get that though. Was the angle really that off? Because I could have swore Zia was close enough. Apparently not, but still. Let me get closer. That's the wrong button. Oh, almost did it again. See what I meant about how you should be preemptively there? Do as I say, not as I do kind of talk.
Allow me.
Okay, I'm about to say, man, there's no option to click on anything. So I think what it is there's some kind of delay when you touch it, because I was doing like this, and you saw how long that took. So, curious. A little annoying, but also curious. Since he is about dead, I'll save the fusion form for whatever we fight next. I love that move so much. I love that move so much, man. I'm so glad Reaper has a utility skill. I'm fairly certain... I know I did. Because I said, I hope that is not just pure DPS like Samurai. For all I know, Samurai might have some supportive skills now as well, so I'm not going to throw shade at them, because I don't know. But I know in Shadowbringers, Black Mage and Samurai were just pure DPS, no support whatsoever. Well, no, still pure DPS. So I'm glad Reaper, even if it's weaker, which again, I personally hope so, I'm glad that it has support skills. And look at that. This reminds me of the 7th Singularity. For those who get what I'm talking about, good job. But yeah, tell me this does not remind you of it. Oh, would you look at that? Terminus Twitcher, huh? That must be what happens when Twitchers fall to despair in the final days. Well, Zio finally got a shiny new bracelet. Oh, you definitely need to die first. That's such a rare thing. Yeah, you definitely need to die first. Forget what they're attacking. Hold on, let me focus real quick. First off, to try to remember what I was saying. Oh, I remember now. It was, yeah, that type of AoE is so rare for a common mob to have that it doesn't even pop up on my radar to like, oh yeah, this thing should definitely die first. But yes, obviously, failing that, I said that the more dangerous the AoE, the more dangerous the threat, so they should die first, hence why circular AoEs are the most dangerous. Yes, if a mob has a petrify AoE, turn away AoE, yes, it needs to die first. That's definitely one of the most dangerous. I'm just blown away by that because I literally have not seen that since a level 50 dungeon, I want to say. Not the mechanic itself, but like a regular mob having a petrifying move, I believe was a level 50 dungeon. I know which dungeon it was, I just can't remember the name. It's the one where the architects go down to... I can't remember the name. I say, yeah, this looks correct. It's like corn or something like that, but it's corn hard mode. That one. So it might be level 60 actually, but it's somewhere around there. This is the only time you actually want to run when you... Let me go and talk about that, by the way, since I'm not tanking. This will be more applicable. Because this has happened before, and I don't quite blame them, because, you know, they're panicking, they don't want to die. But if you manage to get aggro from the tank, all you have to... Well, let me give you two different points. All you have to do is run up to the tank and hope and pray they use an AoE. Of course, if you do that to me, and you got aggro on purpose in the sense that you attack something first, or what have you, or I'm clearly taking something over here for valid reason, and then you run off over there to pull more of the mobs when I specifically chose not to do that, yeah, I'll think about saving you. Like, see, Thanker's running over here, but I'm not going to wait for him to come to me. I need to go to him. And yeah, see, aggro got spread, but I don't blame Thancred for that. A real player would obviously be able to handle that far better. But, that's all you have to do for that. Now, the other thing is, what happens if the tank dies? And let's say it's, you know, just 2 DPS and the healer that are alive. Well, for your sake, I hope that the one they're aggroed on is a melee attacker, because what they should do is, obviously the healer needs to get the tank up ASAP as best they can, but... Oh, my phone's about to die, but I can kill these things before it does, I believe. What you want to do... Okay, let's back up. Say they're aggroed on a healer, as they most likely will be. Not always, but most likely. The healer, or range DPS, do not run away. Do not run. Only stand out of the AoEs, obviously, but don't run around like this, especially when there's melee DPS and the tank is back up trying to get aggro. Do not run away, because you actually decrease the odds of your survival if you run, because they can hit you unless you're like super far away, which you won't be because they can catch up. There's no point in running. Just stay still so the DPS can kill whatever's killing you before you die. I just thought I'd share that, because that kind of happened before. Thankfully, no one died, because I told them, like, hey, stop running. If you run, you make it worse. And they listened, and we were able to kill everything, and no one died except for the tank. Of course they would use the first beast for this. I told you. It's definitely one of the more disturbing looking ones. Oh, that's kind of poetic. Blasphemy. What's that? Savra Banu? That's my best shot. It's like a mega evolution of the first beast. I'm curious to hear what their thoughts are on it. But yeah, in case I haven't talked about this before, another thing, the reason why I'm so against people doing what I just said with the tanking and the pulling and stuff, because that's actually happened to me before, and I want to say more than once, where, hold on, at least let the good part play. Undeniably the best part of that song. Anyway, yeah, that's actually happened to me before, where I deliberately chose not... I can't remember what dungeon I was doing, but it was one of those actually really dangerous dungeons, where... I don't think it was Autumn Vale, but for all I know, it could have happened there as well. where I chose not to pull a lot because I know what I'm doing. And a random DPS, I think, might have been a healer, whoever it was, ran off and pulled something, then brought it back to me. And since I'm trying to do my job, I went ahead and pulled all the aggro instead of letting them die like I should have done. And it was too much for me, too much for the healer for that matter. So I ended up dying. And then the healer died, and then they died, and whatever. It's like, and that's exactly why I didn't pull them. I can't remember what happened afterwards, but obviously if they gave me an attitude, I gave them an attitude back. But that's why I didn't do it. But of course, times have changed. Our skills and traits have changed, so whatever. I'm just saying, that's why. There was something else I wanted to talk about, but we're here, so let's just see what this does. Oh, and keep in mind, future tanks out there, there is a very valid reason why Thancred, a programmed AI, turns the boss. Flames of Decay. Man, that hurt a lot, too. I'm not used to being a DPS when it turns to taking damage. Etheric Disruption. Oh, I see. Because the screen is red. At first I was like, how can you tell? And then I noticed the ring around the screen was reddish pink. Okay, that's not so bad. Crumbling Skies.
You underestimate me.
That one's blue, so don't stand on blue, so we won't be over here. I can get closer.
Allow me.
I'm about to say, yeah, that's, I like how they're visibly marking the tank busters now. That's really appreciative. Because before you just had a straight up no. And for the most part you still kind of, because they, to this day, they still haven't fixed the progenitor of splitting. Hold on, let me try to think of how I want to phrase this. That's blue, so I'll stand right about here. Yeah, perfect. They still haven't fixed, and I don't think they ever will, the progenitor of all split AoEs. You know, the ones you're meant to split with a party. And I'm referring to the one in the World of Darkness, where it's just a purple marker above your head. But seriously, that is the first, as far as I know, split marker AoE in the entire game, but they haven't changed it to one. Oh, we're getting another raid boss-esque mechanic, are we? I love how they're making the fights more dynamic. I do love that, too. Oh, my phone's about to die. I never forgot. I don't have a choice. Well, hopefully my phone can hold on. Ah, damn it. Yeah, my phone was dying and that first meteor distracted me. That's my own fault. I could have done it right there when I was listening to the music, but I completely forgot my phone was dying. And as much as I'd love to say that didn't count, no, a loss is a loss. I hate that it was a cheap loss, but a loss is a loss. But anyway, back to the markers. Yeah, the one in World of Darkness is just a purple marker above your head. Like, it would just be that, and you would have no idea what that meant unless you're familiar with that marker. But that is a split marker AoE, but you wouldn't know that. And as far as I know, they haven't changed it. I don't even know why I said as far as I know. I did the raid recently. It's still the same purple marker. I even had it on me. So they're definitely not going to change something like the Bitter End Tank Buster to have that mark above its head. The only thing though that could be kind of bad about that is, even though it makes it very obvious what the Tank Buster is going to be now, it should technically also mean that it's an AoE. But like I said, it's hard to tell because Alice was more or less right on Thancred, and she didn't get hit. But I guarantee you, if you use one of the original markers for that, and you're that close to the tank, you will get hit. So that begs the question, when you see that from now on in Endwalker, is it just a Tank Buster marker, or is it an AoE Tank Buster marker? Makes me curious. I'll definitely don't plan on finding out as a DPS, but all the same. So now that I've seen more or less everything this guy can do, I'll try to stay quiet so I can focus. Also, you have to forgive me if my buttons are kind of slow. I don't know if it's my controller or if, as a Reaper, especially with this low item level, that the gear's just low. Because I pressed Soul Slice and it didn't come out. So I don't know if that was just delay on my part or if the skill speed is just not as high as I would like. which is why to me skill speed is important even as a DPS. Might not be the most important thing, you know, critical hit is, but skill speed is definitely not irrelevant in my opinion. Like, I'd rather have skill speed than determination.
You underestimate me.
Cool, I'm already on the right side. Quite literally. Alright, let's try this again. Oh, okay, so they're line AoEs, alright. Like, I didn't even get a good look at that before I died last time. That was somewhat lucky. I noticed that, I don't know if it's with Reaper or if it's something they actually changed, and I hope to God they did, because I commented on it before. But I'm hoping that when Reaper does, because I've tested it before and it seems to be the case, if you get the timing really good, even if you do it accidentally like I just did, I can almost guarantee if I use something like elusive jump right there, I would have gotten hit. Or evasive jump. I can't remember if it's, I think it's evasive jump. Hold on, I need to focus for a second. Okay, so there's that, and this. Kind of hard to see. Ah. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh, right. I've always been an advocate for Dragoons getting slight invincibility when they are doing their jumps. Specifically things like Dragon Fire Dive, regular jump, and Spine Shatter Dive. Because they actually, I just feel they should. And I don't mean like hollowed ground tier invincibility, just long enough for the animation to play. Like once their feet are actually off the ground, they should get invincibility until the attack finishes. And I'll be sure to limit break after this. It's pink, so we're gonna be on this side. Oh nope, LC. Hold on, LC, don't do it. Ah, she beat me. Oh no, I beat her. That's weird. Because the line was still there, but Zio was the one doing the charge. Yeah, if it was Stinian, I probably wouldn't care, but that's something else. Unless I'm somehow wrong about this, I sincerely doubt it though. But melee DPS limit breaks will always do more damage than caster and ranged DPS because think about it, just logically speaking, it should do more damage because melee DPS, to show you how distracted I am, I haven't even used the fusion form. Let's see, it wants blue, or rather, we gotta stay in blue. Oh, this might be a little tricky. See, I was saved because of that. I honestly don't think Dragoon would be able to do that, or at least original Dragoon couldn't. That's why I said I hope they gave them a form of invincibility when they do their jumps. Because I feel in the old game prior to Endwalker, if I tried that as a Dragoon, I would have got hit. Yeah, get out of here, you cheap bastard. You didn't deserve that win, and you know it. It does make me wonder, though, especially with Zio's reaction right there. Who was this, or who were they, since there's at least 3 faces on this thing? Or is it 3 people who fell to despair that fused together, or was it just one person that mutated into this thing? And the fact that his body is still here is curious. I'm gonna have to see if they do anything about that. Yeah. Yeah, Y'shtola can clearly see into this thing is not saying anything, and the fact that it's... It just dawned on me. I got so distracted I nearly forgot about the chest. That looks like a cool sword. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's really nice. That's really cool.
As I feared.
What is it?
The beast was there, and now it is no more. Yes?
Indeed. We saw it plain. But you didn't, did you?
Wonder if this is gonna go where I think it is.
I saw nothing. Not the blasphemy that perished here, nor the other men turned beasts. And because of this, I now see all too well. There is no ether. Where the creatures should be, I saw naught but emptiness.
Yep, that's what I thought. The very fact that she was questioning, you know, it was there, now it's not, right? She obviously wouldn't ask that if it had left something behind. You know, similar to when Zio did his little switcheroo. Of course, not similar in the sense that, you know, ether is involved, but the fact that she can see aether. Remember the whole goggle thing that is even more relevant now? So I figured that was the case. Because I thought she was going to say something more along the lines of whoever that used to be, now that they're gone for good. There is no life stream rebirth for them. They're just gone. They no longer exist.
Emptiness? But that would mean...
Recall the words of the Watcher. 'Twas a stagnancy of ether, a cessation of flow, leading to decay and absence, that led the ancients to conclude their star was dying. This is the same phenomenon. The instant these people are seized by the transformation, their ether begins to rot and crumble away like dried mud. Until, from their corporeal forms to their very souls, naught remains.
See?
But the beast spoke with its dying breath. Surely at least a sliver of the man it was endured.
Mayhap so.
I believe so.
But even if the process was incomplete, it was little more than a faint residue.
That's true as well.
Gods be good. You're saying they cannot be saved?
Not by any means known to me. Or by any means at all, like as not. For there is naught left to save.
They return not even to the ethereal sea.
Thank you. So now even Raha confirms what I was thinking.
The beasts rage on, their hunger insatiable. Even deprived of their master, they perpetuate his legacy of hate. Once proud sons and daughters of Thavnir, all of them, and now I spill their blood.
Hey, don't you fall into despair.
Vitra, my friends, I am heartened to see you safe.
That is the last thing we need right now, is for Vithra to fall to despair too.
You put your secret at risk. Those closest to me already know the truth. A truth I must now share with one and all. Vitra, calamity has come to Radzatan. Our fair nation is rent by screams of pain and despair.
I'm sorry to interrupt this talk. I promise I'll try to keep it to a minimum after this. I've been said how their armor, specifically the guy behind them, the royal host, it looks like draconic and is green, making sense for Vithra. But something else I noticed but didn't really comment on because I thought it was just part of the armor. But now that I'm getting a side-by-side comparison, it also kind of makes them look like they have aura scales and horns on their faces, doesn't it? I think that's a really cool touch.
More than ever, we require a strong leader to shepherd us through the storm. Reveal your true self to our people, Vitra, and guide us to salvation.
What madness is this, I-1? Thou dost forget thyself. Were we to reveal our duplicity, it would do naught but foster confusion and chaos. Nay, I shall remain the Satrap's loyal ally, and do battle with the beasts. Easing hearts and leading the people to safety is thy task, and thine alone. I ask that you remain at Ahewan's side, and render unto him what aid you may. I know not what lies ahead, but without you, Radzatan will not survive.
Take me with you. I am as at home fighting in the air as I am on land. Take me with you.
Were my words unclear? I require no assistance. Thy place is at Ahewan's side.
Oh yeah? Well, what does Nidhogg have to say about that?
Estinian, here. It's the last thing you ever wanted. A link pearl. We'd gain much from knowing your elevated perspective. And it'll keep you from getting lonely, which I know you loathe.
You heard the man. Seems I'm coming with you after all.
Then I pray thy grip is iron. Be it on thy head if thou dost chance to fall.
Fair enough. Now, shall we?
Like I said, they all should have link pearls. You know, the whole, I can prove that Livingway was lying, even without the cutscene.
I fear it is as Vitra says. We will not survive this on our own. While I am loath to impose upon you again.
I would insist if you did not. 'Tis the very reason we have come.
Then once more I find myself without words to thank you properly. Let us return to the capital and plan our next course of action.
They're kind of doing what I said, you know, the hypocrites of Stormblood and Shadowbringers were upset about, or not upset about, I was, is they gave Stormblood, did I say Stormbringers again? I can't believe I still do that. Where they were upset that Stormblood's music was playing too often, yet Shadowbringers not only did the exact same thing, it amplified it, and no one, save yours truly, seemed to care, because hypocrite. Matter of fact, while I'm talking, I'll just let this do that. All that being said, much like and it's so funny, man, a lot of things I'm bringing up now are happening later, and I'm not talking about my theorizing, I'm talking about just general conversation. I was talking about how that one theme, the one that went, well, no, not that, that was the Garlean soundtrack, but I explained it, the time between the seconds, Xenos' speech, there, I always assumed, not assumed, is, to me, that is Xenos' theme, and Xenos, more than ever, is a very, very big deal right now. So why are you playing that theme so much? I know why. It makes the scenes more dramatic. I know why. It makes the scenes more dramatic. But I don't know, man. Because they got this game is full of soundtracks. It could be, and it really can tug at your heartstrings. Not to the point where it'll make someone like me cry, but it will definitely make me feel at least something. So they could definitely think of other music to use beyond that one. So I don't know. It's not even really worth complaining about. I just find it really interesting how it's almost like they're trying to capitalize on what they did with Shadowbringers. It was like, oh, everyone loves this theme, so not only are we going to replace dungeon themes with this theme, which they did, but we're also going to play this theme that we know is associated with Xenos for like every dramatic cutscene in the game. It's like, no, you caught lightning in a bottle with Shadowbringers. Don't do the same thing again. Not like that, at least. And it's so funny, too, because, like, with Heaven's Word, Stormblood, and only Shadowbringers, really, I'll just say those two. Abram Reborn, Heaven's Word, and Stormblood, I didn't really notice the music being, quote-unquote, repetitive, probably because it wasn't. But I definitely noticed it in Shadowbringers, and I definitely notice it now. That's why I think it's so interesting. Speaking of interesting, can you imagine doing deliveries while all this is going on? I know for him it obviously isn't, but still. We're definitely seeing different things. Or who knows, maybe he is actually doing deliveries during the apocalypse. Yeah, I figured that would be something that comes to her mind. I really do think it's tied to despair. Which is why getting all gloom and doom about how all hope is lost is definitely not a good idea. It would be so very handy to have those goggles, because who's to say Y'shtola isn't transforming? I'm fairly certain she isn't, but it's just a point that I feel like I should make, because again, the goggles were incredibly useful and fashionable. Yeah, good point. Very good point. And obviously, you know, and the reason why I made that distinction is you can see the Aura, especially that one right there, or sorry, Ora, his face, you know, naturally has the scales and horns. He wasn't wearing a mask. That's just how his face looks. I think that one, no, he's not an Aura either. He almost looks like one, though. But yeah, I just think that's a really cool detail of their armor. I like that a lot. Okay, let me choose one, huh? Well, in that case, I choose the money. Okay, you're saying the same thing. I'm going to take this opportunity to talk to all of them since there's not that many. And like I proved last stream, even though majority of them might say the same thing, it could be possible that only one won't. So let's just make sure. Alright, moving on. Actually, let me... Oh, okay, yeah, it's definitely like Aura inspired armor. Because, like I said, because of the armor, it definitely makes him look like one. And I was like, well, let me see, just to be sure, because I'm looking right at his face, so he definitely doesn't have a tail, right? Then this, but it's not an actual tail, it's just where the armor would be for... So it's designed for Auras. It has to be. Save for the helmet, I guess, but the helmet is meant to make people who aren't Auras look like Auras. So, see, I like Auras so much better, because every time I say Auras, one, O, ow, and two, it sounds like I'm saying Oorah, Oorah, soldier, Oorah. I like Aura better, but I do try to pronounce words the way they are, so begrudgingly, Aura. How about that? Raha and Zio got partnered up, like it was meant to be. You ready to follow? Unless we're just going to warp there, because that is actually a pretty far way off. Nope, he's actually going to follow me on foot. Okay, I'm fine with that. Oh, never mind. It's not as far off as I thought. I thought we were going back. He didn't say it, but as soon as he mentioned the scales, I figured he was talking about... I cannot remember their little research facility name. It's either called the first or the last something, but it doesn't matter. I was wrong either way. Speaking of being wrong, I do believe that the transformation is tied to despair, or at least profound despair. Oh, look at that. Someone's cosplaying as Ida. Well, almost. They don't have her scythe. But it's pretty good. That's good glam. Now, what was I talking about? Oh, right. I do believe it's tied to despair because even though, you know, Zio obviously didn't see that one cutscene, she was present, no duh, for that dungeon, and she saw what was going on. The second one, or rather the one with the elephant family, theirs was definitely sadder, but I'm pretty sure that's because the mother had fallen to despair. But I know the first boss definitely did, by what he said. So I think that's tied to it. But of course, the reason why I think it's tied to profound despair is because people are obviously sad right now. But everyone's not just, you know, spontaneously being transfixed. Thought I heard something. But everyone's not just being transformed, so either I'm straight up wrong, or that's part of it, but there's also another important factor. I almost thought he was talking about Zio, but I was like, there's no way the computer would know what color Zio's eyes are. Or they could, but it would require a lot of programming, and there's no way they would do that, so obviously they're talking about Raha. And you know, it's funny because, again, believe it or not, thanks to I guess in a way it also was, but Xenos' switcheroo, it gives you a greater appreciation for, again, just how strong the Warrior of Light is. Because he just mentioned how the soldiers got literally swatted away and sent airborne, something that would absolutely happen to the regular human, or, you know, not human, but you know what I mean, person. Something that Zio got to experience. So I like that. That's why I said, even though, you know, I can understand the frustration with the mission, it was a good mission. If for no other reason, for a story perspective, it was a good mission. So I do like it. Oh, right. I should talk to Raha right now, see what he has to say. Ah, dang it. I should have talked to him earlier. I wasn't thinking about it because I was, you know, talking myself. And also I was distracted by that glam, but that was before I even saw it, so that's not an excuse. Alright, so he'll keep saying the same thing as long as we're here. Excuse me. He's composing himself really well considering what he just saw. Oh, well, no wonder you weren't quite as traumatized. Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's too bad. I wanted to visit. It's something I actually didn't thought about, and I swear I didn't do it on purpose. But, because it's funny, I was thinking about it like a day or so ago on one of my past streams. I just chose not to mention it. But, Raha, you know, fused with his past self. That's all I'm going to say about that. I love how I'm doing this actually backwards. Good point. But yeah, man, because I almost went to the right, but I decided to just go left anyway in case I only had to look for one person. I don't know why that should matter going left first, but I actually was going to start on the right, but I ended up doing it backwards. Of course I did. There's like 2 people right there. Are you sure about this? Of course you're sure. You're Raha. You know what you're doing. We can prevent the end of the world, which I'm still confident we're going to be able to do. Both in-game and real-life reasons, I believe we can stop it. I believe there's only one more I'm missing. Oh, so you were a key witness. I can kind of understand the mother and her children situation. That's definitely something that would inspire despair in a child. But it makes me wonder, why would it have that effect on the other merchants? Surely their despair wasn't so great that it spread to them that way as well. In addition to the reason I mentioned previously, that's also why I kind of feel like... Yep, and there's the tail of the armor too. That's so cool. Why I feel like there's another cause. That was a really good catch, Raha. I don't think I would have noticed that. Very interesting. Oof. And that's why I'm glad, again, this is one of those instances where I wish I said something earlier, because it's applicable now. I was going to say earlier, I'm glad Raha's here to do the detective work, because again, that thing that she dropped, the chances are I wouldn't have noticed that. That's a really good, again, this is Raha we're talking about. He's a genius, so of course he would notice. But my thing is more theorizing with, more or less, with the clues, as opposed to Raha, who can pick out the clues. I think we'd make a good team. I could talk to her to see what she says about the triple triad, but I'm not gonna do that to her. Probably say something like, "Are you crazy? After what just happened, you think I'm in the mood to play a card game?" Now, this isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! You can't just challenge people to duels no matter what, and they'll accept. Oh, that's right. See, I honestly didn't remember his name. It's like, okay, so it's a merchant that owns his own business. There's not too much, but this right here, I remember who they're talking about now. Because I remember who yeah, that's how I say his name. Yeah. I remember who they're talking about now. Oh, that's really sad. I can see why he would fall to despair, though, but man, that sucks. Man, that's really bad. Because I knew he'd be important, much like I'm sure that Matsuya is going to be important. But I definitely could not have predicted this. That's a pretty cool red mage. Indeed. And this one's not going to update either, so there's no point in checking. I will mark it, though. Comma. Again. Again, referring to the first time I made the FGO reference way back in, I think, the first stream, or technically the second. Or maybe it was the third. Honestly, I'm not sure, but anyway. That is true. Any lead is better than no lead, objectively. That is one of the few universal truths in life. Any lead is better than no lead. Right. Okay. Like I said, I do appreciate that, even though for the most part I just follow the map anyway. I am glad that they do that. Ah, that's really sad. Okay, so if I'm reading this right, I believe we go this way. Don't worry, I will. Oh, make sure I didn't make a wrong turn. Yeah, I already did. I thought they were like one in the same kind of hallway, but they're not. And funnily enough, there's a marker that I somehow managed to miss. I think that didn't load in. I can swear I didn't see that before. I think because, you know, all the people, but I don't remember seeing this. But yeah, I know where to go. It's up the stairs. Yep. So, yeah, if you needed more proof, you know, you can just follow the map. You'll figure it out eventually. And this is coming from a guy who has no sense of direction. Yet and still, for the sake of convenience, and you know, what's that one word I was throwing around a couple streams ago? It wasn't compassionate, it was another C word. Not compassionate. Considerate. I like how the developers were considerate in the sense that they did this, because one, they didn't have to, but it does help. I never really got a good look at how tall they were compared to each other. Raha obviously is going to be taller, but not by too terribly much. Oh, it's basically reset though. So I will do a little bit more just to see how far we can push this. And then I'll stop because I don't want to go do roulettes because I'm not going to just sit here and wait. I'm going to go do my own thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to finish this mission, start the next, then go do roulettes. Okay, there's an aetheryte right over here, which is great, because definitely need it. Yeah, see, that, I mean, we got a more descriptive or more informative detail that the beast appeared, then the sky. But for virtually everyone else, the sky, you know, started raining fire and brimstone, then they noticed the beast, which leads us to believe that was originally the case. But now we know it's not. The beast actually showed up first, then the sky changed. Their very appearance affects the weather. Speaking of weather, apocalypse, yeah, that's about right. I think this is the last one I need because it's not sparkling. Or, to be more accurate, glowing. There we go. But yeah, that wasn't the last one though, so... That's one way to put it. Well, let's hope there's no one too critical. Hey there. Unfortunately, you're a little late, but it's kind of a good thing. I'm actually about to end the stream to go run roulettes, but when I come back, I'm immediately starting the stream again. So you didn't miss too much. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, on the precipice of despair, one might say. Okay, right. Forgot I talked to them already. I'm assuming you can sprint, can't you, Raha? Yep, good. Can't help but notice that with Raha was the first time I actually sprinted while doing an escort. At least I believe it is. In which case, if that's true, that's also quite fitting. Okay, and see, this one lines up with the earlier one that Raha pointed out. First, there was the cry, you know, the beast. Then the sky changed. So once again, confirming the beast appeared first, then the sky. That's a very interesting detail. Like I said, something about them actually affects the weather. That's kind of crazy. So yeah, I would hope he would say something a bit more than that. That's kind of a cool shot. Oh yeah, especially when the lightning did that. That's really cool. Speaking of fire and brimstone, I did take a really neat picture of Zio at night, and there just happened to be a shooting star in the sky. I'll have to... I'm debating if I should upload it or not, because no one really cares, but I'm proud of it, so I kind of want to, so I probably will. Matter of fact, yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll do just that when I finish the main story. I think that's what I'll do. I'm getting a bad feeling about this. Excuse me. Oh, don't worry. Zio knows a thing or two about fashion, you know, in case it wasn't obvious. Oh no, I know even light things can be heavy if they're in abundance. You know, the immortal question, what is heavier? A ton of bricks or a ton of feathers? So yeah, even something light can be heavy if it's in excess. Oh, you're having a bad day too, huh? You and the rest of the world. The carbuncle chilling in that chair. Ah, man. I was like, just please don't let me have to carry all three, or rather do all three at once. It says I have a limited amount of time, but I'm not seeing a time limit. Unless, you know, it's like the final box has the time limit. I guess they would need to be quite sturdy. Might be a good place to bunker down, depending on what's exactly in there, and if they're really that tough. Is Zio actually going to lift this crate above her head? Yeah, see what I meant about that superhuman strength thanks to being the warrior of light? See? Oh, I gotta see what that debuff is. Oh, it won't let me. Actually, yes it will. I gotta use this. Oh, nah, it won't. Dang. I was curious what that debuff did. But I'm kind of short on time, so... Alright, let's see. So I can check it like this. This is something not quite new, but I am aware of. Each passing second. Huh, curious. Unfortunately, I think I actually do know how to fix that. I'll have to remember to do that at my own time, though. Yeah. Wall privileges. WOL. Huh, yeah, how interesting. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I mean, I'd hate to say it's your fault, but... I'm obviously being a bit sarcastic here, but seriously. Yeah, that was the straw that broke the Aura's back. All but given up hope. There you have it. profound despair. Is that what I said earlier? I believe so. I've been saying that since the dungeon. Also, I can't help but think, because I didn't realize it at first, because the account of the beast they're talking about, that... I'm sorry, what was his name? I'm not going to be able to pronounce it, though. I know it starts with a K. Let's see. Kaha Lazal. I'm just going to call him Kaha. So yeah, the description of the beast they're describing versus the beast of that last dungeon sound completely different. Yes. As I've been theorizing, it is. See? And again, I'm not trying to brag here, it's just you have to understand, there's not too many good points about me. So, when I get something like this, it does feel nice. But, I kind of felt that was a big giveaway. They all were saying very forlorn things before they transformed. And there seemed to be no other trigger for it. So I figured despair, if not the main thing, was undeniably a part. And sure enough. But yeah, anyway, back to Kaha. So the beast they described him turning into made it sound like he turned into like a giant ogre. But apparently that's not the case. Even when they called him the blasphemy and then, you know, the last boss in the dungeon. But like I said, they described it like he looked differently. Like even having claws. That thing, I guess, technically had claws, but not like hands. So I thought they were different. So now this did just dawn on me. Kaha was the last boss of that dungeon. And the only way I connect them two together is not just because they called it the blasphemy, because according to them, all of them are blasphemies, but because of what he said prior to, you know, fading out of existence. Ruined. I'm ruined. You know, something a merchant would say. So, dang, that's really tragic. Alright, so with that out of the way, I've had my friend wait 18 minutes longer than I should have. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you around.